At 24, I had just £50 in my account and my whole career plan had just collapsed. No income, no job, no plan. What I didn't know then was that one small decision would affect the whole trajectory of my life. And I remember thinking at 24 that I wish I had somebody who would tell me the things that I am about to tell you right now. The sad thing is that the same thing happened to me again at 30. You will think that life will come at you just once, but that is not the way life works. And the lessons and the things that I learned when I was 24 were the same things that carried me to 30. As an ambitious woman, what we don't talk about is how we internalize everything. Because if you lose your job or if you do not have a career plan, what it is that it's not just about the career. You start internalizing all of these things. You think you're not enough. You think of yourself as a failure, as a disappointment. You feel embarrassment. You feel anger. You end up thinking it is your fault. And so today, I want us to talk about what it feels like to actually build again from scratch. Whether the loss you have suffered is from the loss of a job, a business, an income, whatever it is. We're going to talk about practical steps that would help you to rebuild and get back onto your feet. At 24, I had just finished my master's degree in the UK. I had been scheduled to start a PhD right after. I had had correspondence with my potential supervisor or my incoming supervisor. We had worked out what projects I was going to work with, when I was going to start. Everything was completed. So I had come to Ghana to say bye to my family. I had splurged for everybody a present because I was going to then move on to the US to start my whole new career. And then just about a month before I was supposed to move, my supervisor stopped responding to all my emails. She would not correspond with me. She literally went cold turkey. And so this is me thinking I was about to transition, and then I didn't have a plan, I didn't have a job. And because I knew this was going to happen, I didn't have a fallback on. And so I had just £50 in my account. And instead of going to the US, I had to come back to Ghana to start again from scratch. As I mentioned earlier, I have had to start over in my career 2 times. So whether you're just starting out as I was at 24 or you are a mid-career professional as I was at 30 when this happened again, you will benefit totally from this video. Today, my career looks very insane. I have built not one but 2 careers in cancer research and in business innovation. I work for the #2 university in the world, and I literally meet royalty. I sit in rooms that my 24-year-old self will be so proud of and would not have seen this coming. And I believe that if I could do it, then you can too. So let's get into the video. The very first thing that kept me grounded was my faith. As a Christian, this is not something I'm going to sidestep because my faith is literally what took me through those very difficult times. Imagine you have come back from the UK. Everybody expects that you be swimming in money and you have literally £50 to your name. And I knew that it was only God who was going to take me out of that situation. At that time, what I did was I prayed. I prayed a lot, and I would speak to God about the situation. I'm like, God, what do you want your girl to do? Like, what is the way out right now? And so that was the very first thing that kept me going. One verse that comforted me deeply was the verse at Psalm 37 verse 25, where David said that he had not seen one of God's children literally beg for bread. So I knew that it would never get to the point where I was homeless. The thing is, I don't come from money, so I could not rely on family money, but I definitely had a home. I definitely had a bed that I could sleep on. And so I knew that whatever the case, I was going to find a role. The case was when and how. And I knew that God was going to take me through those very difficult seasons. Next thing I did was journal. I journaled through everything. I journaled the happy times, the sad times, when I was just home doing nothing, laying on my bed, or I journaled everything. At that point, it seemed pointless to be just talking about all the pain and disappointment and suffering. But when this happened to me again at 30, everything I had wrote down became proof that if I had survived a difficult season, I would survive it again. And so journaling was the tool. Journaling was my way through it. And I felt like I could be myself and write all the things that I couldn't tell another person in that journal. And I had to find my journal. This is my journal from 2015 to 2017. And this is my journal for 2nd May 2018. 2017 actually, and this is what I wrote. It's been 4 months and I've gone through one of the lowest times of my life. I've been home since mid-January and things have been topsy-turvy. But I always knew it'd be temporary. And today is the start of a new job. Exciting, huh? It's starting off as an internship, but it will soon be a permanent thing. I'll give it my best. Journaling was my way out. And the third thing that actually helped me, I would not have made it through without my community. Everybody around me rallied through for me. I'm a big believer in friends. I believe in my girlfriends. I believe in my community. And everybody helped. So my boyfriend, who is now my husband at the time, would meet with me at a bus stop early in the morning and we would go distribute letters. Remember that I had done my studies in cancer research at the time. Ghana didn't have so many research centers, so there were very limited jobs I could do, but I expanded my skill set. I thought of all the things that I could do because I was also building my business innovation career in the background. So I looked for mixes of both. I had to find opportunities where there were none. If there wasn't any, I was thinking to myself, what can I do in this space? And I will send letters to them. It all failed. Nobody was calling me back. My best friend Pamela and I, on the days that my boyfriend had to go to work, would do these rounds with me. I would go with her. And the job that I finally ended up having was because Pamela and I found this remote hospital in the middle of nowhere at the time, and we sent an application that actually turned out to be an internship. But I had my friends supporting me. I had another friend of mine, Tibo, who would send me money occasionally because he didn't want me to be totally dependent on my parents. And one of my other best friends in another city, I would go visit her for about 3 weeks just so that I could get out of my house and get out of my head. And so it was really important for me to rely on my community. And so this is not the time to isolate yourself if you're going through a season of joblessness or a season of reinvention of your career. You want to lean into your community, you will get resources from your community. I will talk about what happened at 30 in a different video, but the way I was able to get another job at that point was also leaning into my community. Someone made a reference, I did a pitch, and I got a new job. So it is always important to build your network now. But if you are in the season of joblessness, it would be really great for you to also lean into your community and see what resources are available to you. The fourth thing I did was I invested in myself. This was a time when I didn't have enough finances, but I also knew that I couldn't just sit down and not do anything. So I took classes, I took courses, I looked out for free courses as well and took them. This was about 10 years ago. There are so many free available resources online, and you would be doing yourself a disservice as an ambitious woman if you are in a season of joblessness or if you are in a season of career pivot. If you're not taking advantage of the resources available, you can literally get into any career of your dreams. You just have to make sure that you're also making some investment in yourself. So I would encourage you really to look at Coursera. At that time, I actually paid for in-person classes as well, but look for online classes, look for online resources. And I also created some downtime because I wasn't going to always be learning the whole time. I created downtime to relax, to reset my nervous system because I had not been jobless. I wasn't even jobless when I was out of senior high school. So this was new for me. And so for the 5 months that I didn't have a job, what I did was that I would do courses, I would do some classes, and even when I actually found an internship 2 weeks after, I had to leave for a course because I had pre-registered before I got the internship that later turned into a job. So invest in yourself as much as possible so that by the time the opportunity arises, you are fit for the job. It may be even that the investment you're making in yourself is the one that will pave the path for a new career for you. And the final thing is that I created opportunities instead of waiting for them. There weren't so many opportunities for somebody in cancer research coming into Ghana at that time when I had studied cancer therapeutics, and we were still a little bit basic in our cancer research. We were still nascent. And so I had to create opportunities. I found this institution and realized that they didn't have a research unit. And so I created a proposal, went to them and said, hey, I can create a research unit for you. And they thought, oh, well, we do not have a budget for you. I said, that's okay. I'm willing to work for free if you would just give me a stipend. I waited for about a month. I hadn't heard from them. So I went back to them and said, hey, by the way, I really want to work for your organization. I am getting offers, but you're the organization I want to work with. I had not gotten any offer. I just wanted to make sure that they were picking me. And they came back to me and said, oh, but we still do not have a stipend. I'm like, no worries. I will start for free and we'll figure out how we get a stipend for me as time goes on. Remember, I knew my value. And so I started without any promise of a stipend. And guess what? In 2 weeks, I had a contract for 6 months. And before those 6 months was over, I had a full-time role. Remember what I wrote in my diary? I wrote in my diary that it's starting off as an internship, but it will soon be a permanent thing. I'll give it my best. And I put it out there. I prayed to God about it. I gave it my best. I gave God something to bless, and He blessed it. So I would say that look for the opportunities, put yourself out there, and God will do the rest. Starting over can be very terrifying, but sometimes it is where the most meaningful part of your life will begin. And if you're navigating something right now, I want you to leave it in the comment. I read all of that. And if you want to engage further, you can DM me on Instagram. The link is somewhere on here, and we can talk about some of the practical things that I did and how you can personalize it for yourself. Just know that this is a season. It will pass. God will take you out of it. You just need to trust Him. You need to do your best, and you need to give God something to bless. And these are the things that helped me during my season of joblessness, my pivoting into a beautiful career that I have now. And I know for a certainty that no matter what happens to me in my career, I would always get better. That has been my mantra from when I was 24. It is still my mantra now. I will always get better. And I want to leave that with you. God is going to bless you with things you do not even think possible. And just do your best. Give God something to bless. And I'm so happy you are here. I hope this has been very useful for you. I will see you in the next video.